Good evening, everyone. It is June 19th, 2023, and we're going to start off with a large outlook, this 4,800 all-time high, down to the bear market lows at 3,500-ish. 3,502, I believe, is that October low during that CPI event. Now, for the past, 6 months or so, we've been stuck in this sub 4,300 range, and that was really kind of showing us where we were capped to the upside and we were downside roughly capped to. What I was looking at was the 2021 low of year right around 3850, sorry, 3843. So I was kind of looking at us as mostly being in this sort of range. As you can see, we've broken out of this box. So now I'm going to start looking at this thing. That's interesting, the halfback ends up working like this. But anyway, how I'm going to be looking at this now is instead of being stuck in this sort of box, instead of being stuck in something like this, I'm going to now more so think of us as being within this sort of box, 4,600 to about 4,180. This is going to be the next major box that I'm interested in. 4,600 is the 95% yearly value area high from 2022. So just like how the NQ is fiddling with that right now at 15,430 or whatever it is, 342. That'll be the similar number at 4,600 on the ES. So that'll be the number that I'm looking at. To the downside, I'll be looking at where we pretty much spent all of April and May churning inside of this auction here, which led to this humongous breakout. So if we lose this auction, if we even come back inside of it below 4188 roughly, that key resistance for 6 months or so, if we come below there and we start accepting, below 4150, I'm going to look at that as a liquidation event. I'm going to look at us as being back inside of this box, and I think we'll come to the halfback of that box. I think you would come back to, I don't know, yeah, sure, 39.17. That was my pivot earlier for months and months and months. That's been my pivot. So I'll be updating this once June is over, once we have the numbers from not only June as a month, but the quarter and the half of the year. I think we'll have some updated value areas and this and that. But for now, this is how I'm looking at it, is 4,300 as being the important spot. But really, we can let this thing go down to about 4150 before we run into any trouble. Now, Nasdaq, similar situation here. A little bit more bullish, however. We got above that 15,340 number. That's where we were playing around on Thursday and Friday. We got above this downward trend line. We got above where it originated. That was nice. And we got above, this has been a minor line that I've been watching. And we finally broke above it. You see we had some trouble there for a few days. Finally broke above it, and we got some additional momentum. Now, overall, I want to see the Nasdaq pull back a bit. It's the same idea that we have this now as our pivot, this kind of August swing high from last year. And similarly, I don't want to see us getting below kind of, 13,200-ish, and I think that'll start to give us the same liquidation scenario. So now let's move on to the weekly time frame on the ES. Now, both markets, what I'm looking for is a sell this week. I've been looking at it for a while, but I think we now have sort of our highest conviction in this trade is that the SPY dividend is done. The internals have sort of reached a historic area where they tend to turn around a bit. It would be a nice time to spend about a week or so selling down to 43.03. Those highs that we had, the multiple daily highs, that area we churned between, if not lower, that'd be nice. And then you can get the run up into end of quarter, end of half of the year. This week we just had a choppy Monday that eventually moved upwards, probably because of rollover. Tuesday a gap and go. Wednesday closed the gap and continued to ramp up. Thursday gave us that huge ramp, and then Friday we gapped up, failed to hold it, and kind of pinned right around 4,400. So overall, what I'm looking for is a move down, similar on the NQ, looking for a move down as well. The Nasdaq had a similar sort of trade, a little bit more bullish. We opened at the third standard deviation of weekly VWAP, of last week's VWAP, had the same thing, a ramp. Tuesday, a gap up. We closed the gap, however, unlike on the ES. Wednesday, We ran upwards. We were able to hold the low of the day during that FOMC session, the prior day's low, and we end up breaking the FOMC highs the next day, ran the March high, and broke that yearly value area high 95% on that Thursday session. Tried to hold it all day Friday. That was low of the day for hours upon hours. Now, similarly, just like on the ES, I want to see this sell down a bit. Nothing dramatic. I don't think it's unreasonable to want to see us get down to somewhere around here, like 14,800. Ultimately, I'd like to see us sell down towards something like 14,000. Not sure why this is not moving. Ultimately, I'd like to see us sell somewhere towards 14,000, just filling in this sort of area, getting that bit of a mechanical double bottom rip down, fill in this area, hit this demand zone, then come back up. So overall, I'm leaning a little bit, quote, bearish on the week. I think it's just time for us to settle down a little bit. Let's just, the easiest way to put it is that we spent from August until June, essentially, trading in this 800-point range. But really, more importantly, we spent the past 6 months, here's January, we spent the past 6 months in more or less a 400-point range. And in the matter of 2 weeks or whatever it's been, we've managed to climb up 300 points. We've done 6 months of trading range in about a month. So I would like to see this thing chill out a bit. I'd like to see us come down back to like 4,300-ish, somewhere around there. I don't think that's unreasonable. I think you're getting a little bit greedy if you're asking for 4220s or 4188. I think that's a little bit greedy. Probably will not happen, but 4,300, that's what I would like to see. I'd like to see us erase last week's gains. I'd like to see us come down to that major auction around 4,300, maybe even break these mechanical lows here, break into somewhere like 4250-ish, and then come back and regain 4,300. You can keep doing whatever you want to do. So this video is getting elongated for no reason now, but overall, the theme will be for me this week to look to play both sides of the market. I think we'll be able to, even if it is an overall net negative week down into that 4,300 area, I think overall there will be bids along the way. Many shorts are trapped. There are tons of auctions to play off of. We have JPOW on Wednesday and Thursday doing some testimony thing. Other than that, not a ton of news. I think you just you play this thing both ways, mostly on the long side, and get in, get out. Don't look for any sort of huge moves. I think it'll be a more rotational, if not downward trending week. Hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. Have a great night. Trade safe.